I'm 32, male, and I'm pretty sure my sister thinks I'm her personal ATM. She's 30 and has always had a knack for making her problems everyone else's. I don't know if it's entitlement, laziness, or some twisted combination of both. But for as long as I can remember, she's always managed to wriggle her way out of the consequences of her actions. But this time, she went too far. It started like it always did, a call. "Just one more loan, brother," she said, her voice all sweet and pitiful. She gave me the usual lines about how tough things have been lately, how her car broke down, how her landlord was breathing down her neck. Then, like clockwork, she hit me with the classic, "Family helps family." That line used to work. It used to sting just enough to guilt me into opening my wallet. I mean, I wasn't rolling in cash, but I did okay. Stable job, decent apartment. Nothing fancy, but comfortable. She knew that. She also knew I wasn't the type to let family struggle. But this time, something fell off. Maybe it was the rehearsed tone. Maybe it was the fact that she seemed way too calm for someone on the verge of eviction. Either way, I told her I'd think about it. She wasn't thrilled, but she didn't push. That should have been my first clue. After I hung up, I couldn't shake the feeling. I started thinking back. The rent she needed just for a month. The car payment that somehow never got caught up. The emergency credit card use that kept piling up. And yet, her social media told a different story. Weekend trips, fancy dinners, spa days. All things she claimed she couldn't afford whenever I asked her to pay me back. That's when I decided to dig. Since I had foolishly added her as an authorized user on one of my credit cards, I had access to the statements. And wow, she wasn't even trying to hide it. Designer bags, luxury hotels, nights out at places I couldn't dream of affording. Thousands of dollars gone, and every penny had my name on it. It wasn't just the money. It was the audacity, the lies. She'd tell me one thing, then post pictures of herself sipping cocktails on some rooftop bar the next day. I started taking screenshots. Everything. Her posts, her ridiculous captions, even the comments from her friends hyping her up. For weeks, I gathered evidence. Every emergency she cried about had a matching expense that said otherwise. At first, I thought I'd confront her over the phone, but that felt too easy. I wanted her to see it, to feel it. So, I invited her to dinner. My treat. She was all smiles when she showed up, wearing a designer purse I'm pretty sure I unknowingly bought. She launched into the usual act. How life was so unfair. How she was just trying to get back on her feet. She even managed to squeeze out a few tears. Then she said it. You know, family helps family. That was my cue. I reached into my bag, pulled out the thick folder I'd prepared, and slid it across the table. Her smile dropped instantly. "What's this?" "Receipts," I said. Every single lie. She flipped through it, her face going pale. Page after page. The charges, the screenshots, the comparisons to her sob stories. She opened her mouth like she wanted to argue. But what could she say? She tried, though. "It's not what it looks like." I didn't mean to. I was just trying to keep up appearances. All the excuses I expected. Then came the waterworks. Full-blown sobbing right there in the middle of the restaurant. People were staring, but I didn't care. "I'm done," I told her. "No more loans. No more lies. You're going to pay back what you owe, or I'm taking legal action." She left in a dramatic storm of tears. And that night, 17 voicemails. Begging, pleading, swearing she'd change. Then the tone shifted. By voicemail number 8, she was furious. Calling me heartless. A bad brother. But I didn't respond. The next morning, I filed a police report. It felt harsh, but credit card fraud is credit card fraud, even if it's family. I sent everything to my lawyer. He explained that because she'd misrepresented the charges and used the card without my permission for personal luxuries, it was a solid case. Civil court would be straightforward, but the criminal side was up to the authorities. While I waited, she went into full damage control. She spun the story to our parents, claiming I was trying to ruin her life over a misunderstanding. They called me, concerned, asking if I could just let it go. Apparently, her crocodile tears worked on them. I sent them the same screenshots I showed her. The statements. The receipts. After that, the calls stopped. My father was furious. My mother? Disappointed, but quiet. I think the evidence spoke louder than any excuse my sister could have come up with. A week later, the cops knocked on her door. She wasn't arrested, but the charges were real. Credit card fraud, theft, financial exploitation. Her lawyer tried to spin the poor, struggling woman narrative in court, but it didn't fly. The evidence was airtight. She ended up with probation, a court-ordered restitution plan, and a hefty legal bill. The judge wasn't impressed by her attempts to paint herself as the victim. Every dollar she spent on luxury had to be paid back. She didn't go to jail, but she wasn't living the high life anymore either. And the best part? After the verdict, she tried to play the victim on social media. Posted some ridiculous story about how her evil brother ruined her. People bought it at first. A few comments of "stay strong," and "family is supposed to forgive." So I made one post. No ranting, no name calling. Just screenshots. Her lavish trips, the credit card statements, the legal documents. I'll let the truth speak for itself. Her little fan club? Gone. She deleted her account within hours. People finally saw her for who she was. And honestly, it felt pretty good. I won't lie and say it didn't hurt. She's still my sister, and I wish things hadn't gotten this far. But I gave her every chance, every opportunity to come clean, to make things right. She chose not to. Now I'm free. No more guilt. No more phone calls. Just peace. And if she ever dares to pull the family helps family card again, I'll be ready. Anyway, that's my story. If you liked it, stick around. You never know when another family drama might come knocking.